Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, the Big and Furry Bovine. Joining me, Tony the Calf today. We're missing Brian. Not exactly sure where Brian is, but you never know. Tony has let me know that he's been booted off Twitter. I can't imagine what he said, and I don't want to know. I wanted to start out and at least Rox hasn't been kicked off of anything. Oh, let's let her go full screenage here with her jersey.
Zoom the camera out just a hair, would you? For God's sake.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. The Bernie jersey. That's the Bernie jersey. Dig it, huh? Yeah. The big number 19. Yeah. So there you have that. We promised that she would wear this if the Browns won, and by golly, the Browns won. So now she's wearing it. So it's real easy. Now, the thing is, if we win 4 more in a row, she agreed to take it off live on the air and do a striptease. But the odds of 8-1, Rox, are just about zilch. All right. And it will be over probably after the Pittsburgh thing, right? Here's Brian jumping in as well. Where were you, Brian?
Yeah, you don't want to know.
Okay. Yeah, well, good. I'll take your word for it. I wanted to start out the program with something that I want to get off my chest, a few things that I want to get off my chest. And I'm not the happiest camper in the world, all right, when I see certain types of things. And I'm going to share my screen here. And I hope you all can see that. This is Cleveland.com, and they're Cleveland.com Football Insider, which they're charging for, okay? Like, for example, if I wanted to click on this article, you'd come up with, bam, right here. For only $79.99 per year, $7.99 per month, right? And it's like, that's free enterprise. I got no problem with that, right? But what the fuck is this? I'm going to go all the way down here and show you. I mean, there's such a thing as content that they are creating, and then there are things that have nothing to do with them, and they're charging people for it. Baker Mayfield discusses Week 5 win against the Colts in a video conference. Well, I mean, I go on Cleveland.com and watch the whole goddamn thing. Fuck Cleveland.com. Take your goddamn Football Insider and shove it up your rectum and have a prolapse and shit it back out. What kind of nonsense is this? It's one thing if people want to pay for Terry Pluto's meanderings. Okay. If you want to see him masturbate on a laptop, that's okay. If you want... Mary Kay Cabbagehead and her friends, that's fine. It's all good. You don't have to buy it, right? But I think what they're doing is illegal. That is not original stuff emanating. And it's to charge somebody for it is ridiculous. Now, I go on the air and I don't charge a soul for a goddamn thing. How in the hell can somebody charge for this? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Brian, Tony, Rox, what? I mean, am I just dead wrong about this?
Who wants to pay for a bunch of ads?
Do we get our brains? Can we reverse the charges so that we can try to buy our brain cells back from Mary Kay Cabbage for brains?
Well, I mean, but again, their content is what they're creating, and they should be compensated for it. But Baker Mayfield's post-game press conference is not their domain. They can't charge for that.
Right.
That's wrong. That's ethically wrong.
It's happening in all the major cities with all the sports teams. I mean,
I just had a Stripes flashback to Bill Murray going, we're wrong. There's something very, very wrong with us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those big Stripes fans, right? So that's the first thing that pissed me off right off the bat. It was like, you've got to be joking. I mean, I'm all for free enterprise, and I know that they can't sell newspapers anymore, and they've got to, they got to keep the site up. I know that. I know how much it costs to have a server and to run a program. I never sold an advertisement before in my fucking life on here, but I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to. And I understand the people at Cleveland.com, it's an enterprise. I got to make money. But, why don't you just make people pay for stuff that they want to pay for, not stuff that they should never have to pay for because it doesn't belong to you. That's number one. All right. Number two is this fucking douchebag. And I'm going to put him up because there are some people in the world who forfeit their right to... Oh, God. Florida Gators coach Dan Mullen stands by and doubles down on his desire to see 90,000 fans for Saturday's game.
Sheesh.
Die, you motherfucker, die. This is my state. I live here, man. It's bad enough we got Trumpy going to Sanford, which is just outside. Actually, it's Fred Sanford's old junkyard. They're bringing people. No, it's next to Orlando. You big dummies.
Come on, you dummy. Just put it back in the mailbox.
Yeah, I'm coming to see you, Elizabeth. This is the big one. Yeah, okay. But in Sanford, Trump's having his rally, his maskless rally. That's bad enough. It's bad enough that they've thrown everything at the state of Florida they can possibly throw down here. The NBA stuff, the NBA did a really good job doing it the right way. But the fights, the UFC stuff that didn't go over so well. We get it all in Florida.
It could be worse. I mean, you could have had an import of the Lakers fans, and they could be burning the fucking state to the ground.
No, not at all. I mean, what's worse about it is that a Republican governor here who is just a lackey, a guy who's Donald Trump's ass licker, he's been the one doing this from the get-go. And you want to know something? Florida is now going way up in the virus again. We were flattened out when they were, and then he overrode every local jurisdiction, that cocksucker. And now look what we get. And they gave Dan Mullen a chance to clarify his comments. All right. And he ends up doing a Joe Biden / Donald Trump / Kamala Harris / Mike Pence. It's like, here's what he was asked. Did you have any discussions with your boss, athletic director Scott Strickland, after what you said during the 41-38 loss at Texas A&M? No, I've been worried about trying to beat LSU.
What's just a great answer?
And he regrets 2 days later. Did you talk with the school president? Yeah, I've been preparing for LSU. But I mean, I'll be honest. If you look at what we've been able to do, the safety precautions that our players have followed, our coaches and our staff follows, I think we're a model of safety in what we're doing during this time period. So I'm really proud how we've handled everything. Another follow-up question. Do you understand how bad it could be having so many people with or without masks in cramped quarters for 4 hours? His comment, I think Texas A&M, actually, they created a great atmosphere at the game, created an exciting, and now you're just talking to Charlie McCarthy because he's not really speaking, okay? At this point, Donald Trump has his hand squarely in this guy's back, and it's the dummy's mouth that's moving, and it's also the dummy who's talking, all right?
Yeah, we should all be fucking wrapped in saran wrap forever and ever because COVID-19. Jesus Christ.
It isn't just me. No college or professional
fucking
team.
Survival rate.
Well, wait. No college or professional team in the Sunshine State has moved beyond a small percentage of fans in attendance. By the way, the Florida Gators had 2,000 of 17,000 allotted unsold tickets. In other words, 2,000 of them went unsold. So they said, hey, 17,000 can show, only 15,000 showed. And you know why? Because people are scared. They don't want to walk to what could be their death or a real severe illness.
They're living in fear.
Yes, you're damn straight. You're damn straight.
Living in fucking fear.
And
Jesus
the other
Christ.
15,000 people watch them, and they suck anyway because Florida already lost to A&M. What does it matter? LSU is a carcass this year. It's
By
a
the way,
fucking
we had
carcass team.
We had 12,000 fans at the Browns games.
That's right. That's right. And so wait, I'm not done yet with this. You know, Mullen wants more than 17,000 allotment. I know our governor, there he is again, passed that rule, so certainly the UF administration decides to let us pack the swamp against LSU 100% because that crowd was certainly a factor in the game. I absolutely want to see 90,000 in the swamp. I don't think the section behind our bench, I didn't see an empty seat. It was packed over there in Texas. We want 90,000. And you know something? I hope he gets COVID. I hope he gets COVID, and I hope he gets very, very sick, because this is the most stupid ass thing. I mean, play the game. They're allowing you to play the fucking game. Just shut the fuck up and play the game. Why do you have to drag? I mean, 90,000 people. Do you know? I don't know how many people are actually showing up for Trump's rally in Sanford, but it's nowhere near 90,000 people. All right. And I mean, that's just irresponsible.
It'll probably be between 20 and 30, though.
Any way you look
That's
at it.
typical.
It's irresponsible what this guy's asking for at Florida. And I just had to call him out because it's just, and I know that there will be some people who agree with me, some people who disagree with me, but intelligent people who see what's happening with this. And the fact is that you notice that Donald has stopped talking so much about the vaccine because now all of a sudden, Regeneron, it's a cure. And, you know, the thing that's amazing about Donald Trump, besides the fact that he's brain damaged and addled mentally, the thing that's amazing about this guy is that he's on the take. He's so obviously on the take. Regeneron, okay? He goes, they gave me Regeneron. And he goes, but not the Eli Lilly kind, which is, Eli Lilly. And he's sitting there just promoting a pharmaceutical company. They didn't give him Eli Lilly generic Regeneron or whatever. Fuck no. But he gets a plug-in because he's got his money parked there, the cocksucker. I hope he gets COVID again. God damn it. How do you do this? How do you live with yourselves?
How do you fucking live with yourself? Scary.
Because I'm honest. Jesus Christ, Brian. I don't get kicked off of social media. I don't threaten people. I don't put untruths on the goddamn internet and get kicked off every 3 weeks. That's how I live with myself. Jesus Christ.
He took an experimental drug cocktail, and he was out of the hospital in 4 fucking days.
And that's great. You're missing the
He's trying to push those drugs through the goddamn system.
No, he's trying to push one company. Don't you see? There's no reason to bring up Eli Lilly because Eli Lilly had nothing to do with the cocktail that he received that allegedly was the cure.
It all comes down to money. It all comes down to money. Hey.
Don't let money fool you. Money, 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 money. Ooh, money. Yeah. God, it's unbelievable. All right.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Motherfucker, we either have a country with an economy or we have 300 million people on fucking unemployment.
Well, we'll see what happens when Trump gets voted out of office. Once he's gone,
move to a goddamn prison.
That's what you're going to do. You're going to move to another country.
Square meal today.
You're going to go somewhere else.
Goddamn safety.
All of you got to go somewhere else. He's going to lose. He's going to lose, and he's going to lose. He's going to lose face. He's not going to get back into office, and everyone's going to see, what happens handled the other way. And you watch. The thing will fade out. Because this guy's a schmuck and he's only interested in paying himself off and the people who were just giving him all kinds of money. It'll all be shown.
That's why he collects $1 salary for fucking 4 years.
Because he's getting it from, come on. You can't be that stupid. Yep, I guess you're good. Greedy Williams is heading to the injured reserve. Go figure. Now we know what's wrong with his shoulder. I've been asking this question. It's like, when the hell is it? He's got nerve damage. He's got a nerve problem, as Kevin Stefanski said. And I'm living through a nerve problem. You got a lot of nerve, Brian. No, I'm kidding. My back, I'm having this massive sciatica thing going on, and it ain't no fun. Greedy Williams obviously probably, tackled somebody leading with his shoulder, which is now what they tell them to do because they can't lead with their head. And he's got an impingement, and he's probably got a nerve impingement in his shoulder. And I'll tell you something, it's horrible. It doesn't just go away. They're putting him on IR, which automatically means 3 weeks. Will he ever play this season? Stefanski says, well, we're hopeful that he will, but I don't think so. I mean, they've shut him down is what it amounts to, because this thing, once it's fired up, you just can't. And you lose strength. And that's the real thing probably for Greedy, is that he can't get strength. He loses feeling in whichever shoulder it is. He's losing feeling in it. And that's really too bad. Here's another one that I want to call out because, I am bellicose, because I'm not Belichick, but I'm bellicose. And my back hurts. And when my back hurts, I'm a mean motherfucker. So with that in mind, let's share the screen and come up with another one of my favorite sports announcers. And Browns are the Titans from last year, ESPN analyst says. All right. It's like, it's an interesting comparison. But who is it? ESPN analyst Dan Orlovsky. It's like, now, wait a minute here. So now the Browns at 4-1 are the new Titans from last year. This is the same guy. Should I remind you what he said? I'm going to look this up for you. Let me see. Oh, Dan. It's Dan Orlovsky, isn't it? Stupid ass.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It's the former quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. Right. All right. I'll give you this, and I'll just, and I don't really want to run the video because it does. He doesn't. All I have to do is show you the fucking page. This will just really make you wonder. All right, wait a sec. I gotta now share this with you. It's a little more awkward to do this. And here's your share. Orlovsky close to calling Gardner Minshew better than Baker Mayfield. Dan Orlovsky says Baker Mayfield has to be better for the Browns to be successful. And he's 1 week away from calling Gardner Minshew the better quarterback. All right. Here's the problem. This was week 1 after the Ravens tore us apart. How's that for a fucking hot take, folks? I mean, that's lame. So it's like, so now I'm going to pay attention to what Dan Orlovsky has to say. Wrong. We're not the Titans of last year. We're the Cleveland Browns of this year. Shut the fuck up, Dan Orlovsky. You were a lousy quarterback. Where was he? In Green Bay? Is that where he played for a while?
Detroit.
That's right. The big franchise, Gardner Minshew's better, by the way, than Dan Orlovsky was. And I don't need a week from now to say that. I can say that with confidence now. Gardner Minshew. By the way, the Browns are 4-1 and the Jaguars are 1-4. A lot of things can happen after week 1. You dumb fuck. All right. These are the hot takes that I don't understand. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Let's look at some of the plays that made the game yesterday. And I was watching the fourth quarter again. And, you get hot under the collar when you see things happening in a game. And, the post-game show is always very fan-oriented, and so it's for fandom, and I'm a fan, and I react accordingly like a fan. Madonna acts like a virgin, although, she's not. I actually am a fan. Rox, on the other hand, doesn't even watch the fucking game, but she wears the jersey after they win. All right.
I cheer for them.
Yeah, she can't stand watching it because it's cringeworthy. She's like, "Oh, they're winning!" And they come back, they're losing," and then she runs away into her cubby hole. She goes away. I can't watch this. It's like, can you imagine watching this for decades? You know, it's like, I'd love to see Rock.
You need to get one of the electromagnetic fucking football games for her.
Yeah.
Then she paint the Browns and then paint some of the paint whoever the opponent is and let her have that.
God damn. I mean, can you imagine poor Rox being chained to a chair, forced to watch, or strapped to a chair, forced to watch The Drive? I can't watch it. It's like,
She'd look like oh god, who was that? Billy Joel in the Pressure video.
Pressure video, exactly. Yeah. And believe me, it's scarier than the Blair Witch Project, Rox. It really is. At any rate, these hot takes are just like full of shit. The 6 plays that, you know, I'll go back to the fourth quarter. The first possession of the Browns' fourth quarter, you know, you get a single first down, but the third down play winds up him throwing a ball 100 miles an hour and the ball caroming literally off Odell Beckham. Right. Then they got a first down by running the ball again with Kareem Hunt running it off the right side. And this is when they had an opportunity to, after an offsides call, to be 3rd and 3. And that was the fateful interception where he got hurt, where, again, I'm looking at the play and going, no, that doesn't make any sense in context. But what happened before that, I mean, that forces us into these situations or drop passes by Jarvis Landry. I mean, one that was a definite chain mover. All he had to do was catch it and just run out of bounds, and he's got a first down, and he didn't catch the ball. And then after that, there was one that, you know, he made a slant and he just missed the ball, and maybe his body momentum might have hurled him toward the first down. Maybe yes, maybe no, but we'll never know now because he didn't catch the ball. And, you know, I'm watching this and saying it wasn't that that Kevin Stefanski wanted to pass the ball in the fourth quarter, folks. It just wasn't that. It's just that the Browns didn't execute. And after the game, I paid my $79.99 to Cleveland.com. No, I didn't. I watched Baker Mayfield's post-game press conference on a free source that originated it in the first place, the fucking ClevelandBrowns.com. Okay. And they don't even charge for it. And Baker Mayfield said, "This is on me." He goes, "I got to play. This is like the worst I've played in all the 5 games." And he was really down on himself. I thought he played a whale of a first half, and the receivers helped him in the first half by catching some passes that were a little off. But you can't take all the blame, and I respect him that he's taking the blame. But you can't take all the blame saying you played the worst game when you're throwing the ball literally from 3 yards away from somebody and shot putting it into their hands and they drop it. You just can't blame the quarterback for something like that. Hi, Bronx, how you doing?
Who's that in the chat? Is that Bernie Kosar?
Yeah.
Wow,
that's Bernie.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey,
let your hair grow out of it.
Yeah, Bernie's going to become a hippie. Yep. But you can't blame Baker for a number of things, and the running plays that we called were stacked up. Dearness Johnson ran into a crowd, basically, and we were the only thing I take exception to still, the 3rd and 3 play, I think there's a better play to draw up than Baker standing there and then waiting to get thwapped in the pocket and throwing a pick. That was the worst possible outcome that could happen on that play. So I wasn't real thrilled with that. But be that as it may, there were other 6 plays in the game that people are talking about. That the one that I really liked that I talked about on the halftime show was Baker Mayfield in the red zone, just throwing the short pass for the touchdown to Kareem Hunt. And and that was a good example of moving in the pocket and finding an open guy who was coming across. That's different when you're in the red zone and you're going for the end zone. When you have an opportunity to kick field goals and so on and put the game out of reach, that's not the time to be standing around in the pocket on 3rd and 3. But earlier in the game, that was, I thought, what you really want the quarterback to be able to do in a red zone situation. The offensive line executed and blocked for him. He didn't panic. He shuffled into the pocket and got comfortable, and his eyes didn't stop moving, which has been a wrap on Baker, especially for Dan Orlovsky, who thinks that he's worse than Gardner Minshew. I wonder how many years we're going to be talking about Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew. He's sort of like a better version of Duck. Quack, quack, quack.
Well, he's throwing 50 times a game, and he's throwing for 300 yards, and he's not winning. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He throws picks. He's playing for a lousy
You know who else was doing that? Dak Prescott.
Yeah, well, Dak, though, was throwing. Yeah, not anymore. Yeah. And it really hurts that it comes on a draw play. I still have not watched the video, and I don't want to watch the video.
Oh, it's good. You got to watch it.
No.
You got to watch it.
No. I mean, I want to see that. It was just too bad.
It's one of those vomit in your mouth moments because they've got the perfect camera angle. It's just like Joe Theismann.
And that's it. I saw Theismann and I saw Sean Livingston. That's it for me.
Did his bone actually come out of his skin? I don't know.
No. Well,
they're saying it did.
Well, it may have come through his skin, but it didn't come through his sock.
Yeah.
Well, that's really nice to hear.
That's the difference.
It wasn't like that Louisville basketball player whose leg just snapped and the fucking skin shattered.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the other one that made me sick to my stomach was Gordon Hayward against the Cavs. My God. I mean, I don't want to see any more of these things. They're really...
some great ones in football over here. I mean, my daughter is similar one.
Oh, God. I mean, at any rate...
let's get off of fucking talking about bone snapping.
Yeah, exactly. It was great seeing Higgins make an impact. And, the funny thing is that the touchdown to him was really, not... it wasn't like it was such a big to-do.
You know what it looked like? It looked like one of those high school plays where the defense totally forgets about the guy because they don't think the ball's going anywhere near him. So he's just like, hey, throw me the ball, throw me the ball. Oh, I got it. Touchdown.
We're going to get an ad, but this is the video of the play that I'm sharing with you. I mean, he didn't even, he wasn't even contested. He wasn't even contested. Wow. At any point in the pattern, and if you look at it, he just kind of just goes right. I mean, he just kind of runs a little kind of fading route, and that was like the whole deal.
The safety was hung up because there was a guy in the middle, so he wasn't sure if he was going to take that guy or not.
Good play design, good throw, good catch, and that's how I guess that's why they call it the Blues. If you're Indianapolis, there were that was fun just because he was able to make 3 nice plays in the game, and he's just not been playing at all.
So did you rewatch the whole game? Because I made it through the first quarter and a half. And
I was watching the fourth quarter really to get a fix on what happened. I wanted to get a fix on what happened for the on the kickoff return too. And what I can tell you is Isaiah Rodgers. I researched that. You know that it was a 101-yard return, but he ran 135 yards. You can't tell me that one Cleveland Brown can't get their hands or make a tackle on this guy running around for 135 yards. That's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't. they need to work on. I want to make a quick comment. I don't know whether you've already covered it because I was literally asleep 20 minutes ago, and then something woke me up, and I go, "Oh, it's Moonlight Song." Anyway, you may have already covered this. Very first play of the game, where they had that review on that, phantom fumble.
Yes.
What it looked like to me, because I rewatched the game, in real time.
Yes.
The referee blew the whistle immediately after the ball got knocked out. It's like they saw the ball getting knocked out and they blew the whistle. And you hear it on the thing, and then when you watch all these 20 replays that they show, you obviously don't hear a whistle, but he blew it he must have seen the ball getting knocked out and blew the whistle.
So the implication was he was calling it dead.
He was down. I think he meant the play was down, and they wanted to stop a fight from happening. In the scrum of the moment,
So was it a fumble?
No, it wasn't, because nobody on the field thought it was a fumble, except for maybe the guy on the Colts who knocked the ball out.
Who stripped the ball? Yeah, I mean, and of course,
no one on the field. I mean, in sports here in England, you have to appeal for something. Like in cricket, if you think somebody's out, the field side raise his hand. Oh, they're out, and the umpire said, "Yeah, they're out." Or in soccer, you appeal if somebody fouls you. You go, hey, you just fouled me. And then the referee goes, yeah, you're right. There was nobody appealing for a fumble on the field. Well, my idea is that the challenge flag should have a further penalty. There should be a delay the game penalty or something for coaches to make idiotic challenges. You should not only lose a timeout, but you should get charged for the game.
You lose timeouts, and it can really affect you. And of course, Reich ended up using
an even worse challenge.
All of them inside 3 minutes to try to get the ball back before the 28-yard run busted that all up. I'm wondering if Frank Reich had a son and his son had a son, and they were all Reich. That's exactly. I'm wondering.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength.
A lot of jokes like that, he probably got a lot of Nazi fans being in Indianapolis, considering that it's the whitest metropolitan area in North America.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Indiana is one of the fastest rising states. And a matter of fact, in Indiana right now, Mike Pence, more people have coronavirus in Indiana now than at any time during the pandemic. Their number is higher than it was back in the beginning. All right. So a lot of these areas were not really hit as hard, especially in the Midwest. And these places, and I love it because these are the people coming back to Florida. So the reason I'm so touchy about all this is we got all these people coming back here for the fall in flu season, and these people are going to be carrying this goddamn COVID with them back to Florida, and they're coming from the Midwest, which is where they go, and then 90,000 people are going to be in the swamp, and then people are going to be in Orlando, and we're going to see the numbers spike like crazy here, and then people are going to pretend like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know how many people were at the Texas-Oklahoma game, but there were a lot of fans in the crowd for that game, including some very irate Texas fans after the end of it.
Pat, you're right. I mean, for God's sakes, all you have to do is go to the YouTube channel and listen to the pressers. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing.
Are we pissing on Cleveland.com? Because
yes.
I took them out of my bookmarks.
So did I. I'm done.
I did not go on Cleveland.com for anything for the past couple of weeks. Once I found out that they were on a pay-per-view fucking thing.
But especially stuff that's not even theirs.
Go fuck yourselves.
I know. But on that kickoff return, one thing that I saw that was really disturbing was Stephen Carlson, the eighth string tight end.
Well, Carlson, the doorman.
Oh my God! I mean, he just ran out of bounds. They were trying to shove the guy out of bounds. They weren't trying to actively make tackles. They got problems here. They need to find people who want to play special teams, because it was obvious to me that the effort was lacking. And I know that Kevin Stefanski has to see this. Prefer's going to lose his fucking job if this continues. These guys may not be fast enough to get it done, but still.
Well, I told
effort.
I told you the guy got a 35-yard return on the very last kick that went 9 yards. He's returning 9 yards and deep in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean,
His heel is on the end line, and he gets out past the 30. How the fuck does that happen?
lack of effort. I mean,
Well,
really.
It was windy yesterday too, so I think the wind affected some of those kicks. Like on a still day, the kicks may have all gone out of the end zone. But
Well, I watched that kickoff that they returned for 101 yards and watched, Parkey, and what he did is he hit the line drive. It just didn't go anywhere, and that made it even easier because there was no height on the kick, and he was trying to smack it as hard as he could, and that was as hard as he could.
Well, maybe we'll get Parkey to kick off, but put Hammer on the chase down team so he can try to kill somebody or
Right? Yeah, I mean,
put a rugby tackle on somebody. I don't know.
And here's the thing that I come away with, but with my revelation.
Is Tony Calfon asleep here? He's
Maybe.
I was yawning.
Yeah.
He get some sleep.
Here's my revelation, and
Oh my God.
I don't have very
You're
many of
blinded
these.
by the light.
So, for those of you who thought it was a fumble, because those calls always go against the Cleveland Browns, for those of you who thought that somehow they were going to take Odell Beckham's catch away from them, and everything that Frank Reich argued that didn't come to pass, and what I talked about weeks and weeks and months ago is you want to complain about the calls. When you're not winning, you don't get calls. And I'm watching it happen right now to losing teams in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns have gotten off to a 4-1 start. And there isn't a single game we got our asses handed to us by the Ravens.
Correct.
They were just better. All right. And we've managed to win all of our other games. And I guess what it boils down to is win, and you're not the weak sister anymore. The league has to find teams that they pick on. Right now, the Jets and the Redskins, those would be the teams that are,
Falcones.
Really, the Falcons. They fired Quinn already.
And the GM.
The mighty Quinn.
Yeah. So
the Vikings. Fuck my life.
The Vikings.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, Tony.
Fuck me.
I woke up at 4 a.m. and saw the end of that. That cheered me up.
Here's the thing that really, I find myself saying, we would have won that game if we'd have just held on Dearness Johnson on that run. I mean, I'm saying this is what the Indianapolis Colts fans are saying today. God, if we'd have done this, just this one thing, we could have won that game. That's what Browns fans. Well, we won the game, okay? The other guy is finally saying that shit. It's not us. And you're going to get some respect. You're going to get some respect from the league when you prove that you can win close games and not implode. And if you're imploding, the referees will help you. They will help you implode. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to get screwed against the Steelers, because it always happens, because they pay money for that shit to happen. All right. We're not in, Jimmy Haslam. No. He's not in like the Rooney family is. But
the worst referee game of the weekend was that Alabama game. Jesus Christ! Do you see?
I didn't even watch it.
They put the spots wrong and everything. It was terrible.
Well, I mean, we've been on the short end so many times because of our own incompetence, and now we're winning football games. And I think it's amazing. We're 5 games into a season, and we haven't once said the referees screwed us. That's
got to be a streak.
I've been doing this show for 16 years.
And I've been watching it for not quite as long. Cap's been watching it for as long.
Yep.
Never have we gone 5 weeks without complaining about the referees. It never happened.
Yeah, but the Zebras are not a factor. The Browns are going out and taking care of business. And when they're on the verge of collapsing, they get their act together and they've pulled the games out. And when it looks like they're starting to lose their grip a little bit, and making plays that are big plays. And
finally, they're snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, not defeat from the jaws of victory.
yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the officials taking notice. The league, they need a story. In a pandemic season, and by the way, the league is talking about now maybe having to go to week 18 and 19 because of 8 teams being affected by this. 8 scheduled games.
They need room at the end of the year. So there's going to be, I think there's going to be at least 2 weeks of that. Definitely.
Yeah. And so, and right now,
conversely, there were a lot of penalties in the Eagles and Pittsburgh game. So that's something to be aware of going into this Sunday.
Calling a lot of intentional grounding by the rule before they sort of gave quarterbacks the benefit of the doubt. Now they're not giving them the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Yeah, well, Philip Rivers Cuomo, it's a Weezer reference.
Just to prove nice.
Thank you. He had that look of entitlement.
Does he look like Buddy Holly?
More like Mary Tyler Moore.
Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, this guy is looking like, you can't call that on me. I'm Philip fucking Rivers.
Yeah,
and it's like,
how dare you?
You used to get away with this shit because you never get sacked because you just chuck. He chucked that thing so far out of bounds. My God. I mean, I think.
Yeah, how dare you call that on me? I'm the white guy here. Don't call that on me.
I mean, it was, and it's so obvious. And in years past, it's so obvious. But usually only if it's like what Baker did and the ball doesn't cross the line of scrimmage, you'll get the grounding every time. But if a guy who's a named player throws it somewhere on the field and you can point in the general direction, or if a drone up in the sky because it's over here, it's him, and the ball ends up flying out of bounds, and it's totally uncatchable. They never call that grounding, but they did. And, old Rivers Cuomo was not real happy about it. It was like Crimea Rivers,
Many rivers to cross.
Yeah. So,
Bridge over the River Kwai.
It was
over troubled rivers.
And the beautiful thing about the Browns is that, again, not only that, but guys actually stepping up and making plays. What do you know?
Sheldon or
red wine. He made me feel good.
Yeah. The football told him, lay close to me.
I mean,
let me be alone.
But guys making plays, coming in and out of obscurity, and this is the difference. You got to be prepared to play. And when your name's called, and the defense, believe me, I feel bad for Joe Woods because he's got nothing out there. It's all at this point trying to confuse people in the zones. We're getting takeaways, and that's amazing because we have such a porous defense. But we've gone through years where we've had droughts of takeaways. We would never get takeaways.
Well, and we've got a hole in the middle of the field that we could fit the fucking Vanderbilt mansion in.
Yeah, well, but we're still actually getting turnovers. And that's what's helping determine the outcomes of these games. And it's something that we were not getting before.
What are we, plus 12 or 14 or something, or 13? Something ridiculous.
Yeah, we're having a hell of a turnover year. And, at least you can hawk the ball, if nothing else. And just so that, Kareem Hunt is, it's not, the rushing yards. We're a third of the way basically through the season. He has 410, which is perfectly fine. But it's the touchdowns. 6 touchdowns for Hunt, the most by a Browns player through 5 games since Gary Collins in 1969.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's right up there with Jim fucking Brown. How is Jim fucking Brown these days? All right.
I'm very fine, thank you. Somebody give me my cane. Yeah. Yeah, but Hunt's finding the end zone, and that makes him exceedingly valuable. And the other thing is that Chubb has a nose for the end zone too, and only 3 punts per game average
Correct.
for the Browns.
I missed the early part of the show, so I don't know whether you already discussed this, but how's the injuries doing from yesterday's game? What's all happening with all that?
Baker Mayfield came out negative on the ribs, and they asked him, "Is he going to be ready?"
He did have a great line for Mary Kay, who said that. By the way, Baker, did you know that your X-rays were negative? And his comeback was, "Well, no, I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn last night."
Yeah, I don't know how to read that. And the same thing. They said, "Are you going to be ready for the Steelers?" He goes, "My mama didn't raise no wuss." Yeah. But I hope the Case Keenum's getting reps because rib injuries.
It's like throwing a target on your body. Say, "Steelers, please hit here,"
Because what I saw in the one
the Browns defenders have to do the same thing to Roethlisberger's elbow and his throwing arm. They got to hit him with the face mask, the helmet, the hands, the arms.
Baker,
the forearm shiv. They got to do every fucking thing to
when Baker
threw
that ball that was incomplete, and that it was the second time he showed the injury, and he was shaking his arm and his hand again the second time. Nobody really hit him, he definitely grabbed for his ribs. The problem is, if you're playing with sore ribs and you don't have some kind of protective jacket, you're fucked, because anything is going to jar you. It's going to be so horribly painful. You will lose feeling in your arm. You're going to come out of the game. They have to give Case Keenum more reps this week, because there is a real possibility with the team that we're playing and the pass rush that they have and the late hits that they do, they're going to try to get him out of the game. And when you have
especially with Dupree and Watt, TJ Watt.
Yeah, ribs are bad news. I mean, that kind of, and I've seen fighters who get hit in the ribs and take a knee and get counted out. Mm-hmm. I mean, the pain is searing.
You can't breathe.
That's right.
Can't breathe.
That's right. I mean, and it's just a painful thing. So that's something that I hope the Browns are, going to be.
It's one of these things that can last all year, because if the Steelers draw a target on him and pound him, and he's going to be hurt for the next 3 months.
Oh, and now that I see him in the chat, shout out to Ron Shane for once again having the closest score.
He did it again. For some reason, my chat room has just shut down. Oh, wait, there it came back. Jeez.
I thought the Colts were going to win, so there you go.
Yeah. Again, what I said, 24-20. I mean, I think we were all pretty much in the same ballpark, and more points were scored in this game than we thought.
And Ron had 31-27 Browns. So
yeah.
Well, the winning
was
margin
the closest one.
The winning margin was the points we scored on defense.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. The turnovers are huge. We were talking about Ron Rivera and the whole serious case of Benjamin Buttons, this time being Dwayne Haskins, how you go from the starting quarterback to being third string, and then Haskins wasn't even on the sidelines, and they said he had a stomach problem.
A bug or something, right?
This. Washington reportedly thinking about trading Dwayne Haskins after his third string. Now, this has to be the fastest fall from grace I've ever seen. This is according to Jason of CBS Sports, that the October 29th deadline is the most likely outcome would be the trade of Haskins. He was the number 15 pick in the 2019 draft. He's 3-8 as a starter. He's completed 59.6% of his throws, not very different than Baker Mayfield, for 2,304 yards, 11 touchdowns, but 10 picks thus far in his career.
Honestly, they should consider trading him to Dallas.
I don't know why you want to bring that down. I mean, you're better off with Andy Dalton. I mean,
he'll probably end up as a backup in New England.
It's not that I believe that Haskins is some great quarterback, but I've just never seen. We're not getting the story here. Something's fishy, and the thing that was so really
Well, and it's the same thing with Rosenstein.
Josh Rosen, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, Rosen, we knew, had an attitude problem. And when he said, yeah, if I don't make it as a quarterback in the NFL, I can always do other things, you kind of knew that wasn't going to work out. But the thing that was really pathetic, in my estimation, how do you let Alex Smith into the game and allow him to be sacked 6 times?
Oh my God! I thought he was going to die.
What is wrong with this organization?
Walk. The fucker can't walk. I mean, Bernie Kosar was more mobile. I mean, that was just like obscene. You know, he shouldn't have been in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Kaiser had 3 years to just try to get something going, and and in a way, worse situation is right. I mean, what happened in Washington, and who's running the show? It's a peculiar story. It's one that there has to be an explanation for. Ron Rivera said, no, I really think highly of this guy. Now, Ron Rivera is obviously being made to look like a schmuck by the people in the front office who are now leaking to the press that, hey, we're going to trade this guy. And it really reeks. It reeks of the kind of publicity that the Redskins have had, abuse of women, and now there's going to be racism charges against the organization as well, because I don't see it. You get a draft guy 15th in the first round of goddamn NFL draft, and he doesn't play great because the team he's playing for sucks. And we've seen it so many times in Cleveland. We can name the Brandon Whedons. We can name, the Deshaun Kaisers. We can name all of these people who played, and the Johnny Manziels, and, Colt McCoy, and all of these people. And the team was so bad, who would have looked good? Who would have looked good on any of those Cleveland Browns teams? And you're going to bring Alex Smith. Alex Smith has come off of 17 surgeries, folks. This is heroic that he's even giving it a go. And they're going to put him in the game as a tip your cap in a losing situation in a 30-10 game that they have no fucking way that they're ever going to get back into the game. And you put this guy out there as a different kind of quack, quack. He's a dead duck back there. He's playing on 1.5 legs, and he's sacked 6 times. What are they thinking in Washington? They got to get that owner. They got to get Snyder the fuck out of there. Seriously, the NFL's got to orchestrate new ownership for that franchise. This is crazy shit. And the next hit that Alex Smith takes could be the last for him. And then you're not going to have a third-string quarterback. And Kyle Allen's already gotten hurt in the one time he's played. Doesn't make any sense. The whole thing is just absolutely senseless. So, meanwhile, the Falcons have named the Raheem Morris head coach. And Raheem hasn't exactly had a stellar career. He was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, pre-Tom Brady. And his record was I think it was something like in 3 years. I want to say 17-27, something like that.
Hey, how about Romeo Crennel getting a win now? Hey.
Well, Romeo, did you see him? Boy, he's gained even more weight. He was dancing in the locker room after the game. That was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time.
He ate one of the defensive lines.
Yeah. Hey, what the fuck? Look, somebody's missing.
Talk about ribs. He loves them.
And isn't this the truth? Yeah, we're having a good time talking about other teams' dysfunction.
We know all about it. We recognize it straight away when we see it in other teams.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what a Hipster fan says. Exactly right. I mean, we know it when we see it. But, yeah, just... So
how's Mark Teller and Harrison, and how's those other dudes?
Harrison's got a concussion, so that's day to day, okay? And we haven't gotten word on the MRI on the knee of Phillips. We don't have that information. Don't have that one. No, Romeo was Golden Corral, Pat. Golden Corral. You have to make.
He's a total buffet guy.
Yeah,
smorgasbord.
And the chocolate dessert fountain.
Yeah.
That's Romeo. He's that kind of guy.
If we're talking ribs, we need to have Ziffles here because Ziffles and pigs. All about ribs.
But you know what the funniest thing is? I mean, can you imagine if you're the former coach of the Texans and Romeo steps in and wins one? Yeah, it's like, God, if I can't do better than him, they did the right thing by firing me. They did the absolute right thing, Romeo will be loved by his players. He always is loved by his players. And he's a real good guy.
Jolly fat guy, isn't he? He's like a jolly. But
it ain't so fun if you watch it year after year. It wasn't really very fun at all.
Probably the nicest coach the Browns have had.
Yes.
As far as the person goes. I mean, because there have been some real assholes. But
I'm sorry, Raheem Morris was 17-31.
Oh, that's awesome.
He had 1 year where he had 10 wins of those 17. So, Ams, no, it's a converted potato cannon.
And the funny thing is, some people thought that Raheem Morris was a potential head coaching candidate this past offseason, not in the NFL. One NFC team even inquired about bringing him in for an interview.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, isn't that forward thinking? Yeah. And both Falcons owner Arthur Blank.
What was that line that Ozzy Osbourne had? Moving forward in reverse.
Yeah. and Arthur Blank gave Morris his blessing to pursue head coaching opportunities, even after Morris was named the team's defensive coordinator for 2020. This is what happens. You inherit an 0-5 team. You're a minority head coach, and your team sucks, and then they're going to give you, okay, you have an opportunity to show us what you can do with this shit fuck of a team, and then at the end of the year, they hire a white guy. This is how it's done. And I don't know what chance, interim coach, tough.
I don't know. Art might hire an Eric Bieniemy or somebody from the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, I mean, he was the guy. I mean, everyone thought that Bieniemy was going to end up somewhere, but he turned out to be the enemy of the people in the NFL because he didn't even get a look-see. So it really has kind of gone backwards. Before I get out of here, Joe Morgan of the Big Red Machine. Dead at 77. And a very odd kind of, usually there is like this definitive cause of death that we can really say, this is what he died of. But in this case, he had struggled with various health issues, including a nerve condition, a form of polyneuropathy. Now, I don't know what polyneuropathy is, except there's many neuropathies in the body, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
good. It's like
doesn't sound like a good way to go. Let's put it that way.
Paralyzed.
I wonder if he was diabetic, because when you start, seeing, multiple
neuropathy in all four extremities.
And he was, I was fortunate enough to have met George Foster when I was on the East Coast of Florida, and we talked Big Red Machine because I was in college at Miami of Ohio, and they were just down the road playing, all the guys, Davey Concepcion and Johnny Bench, the whole bunch of them. What a fantastically put together team the Reds were. And it's a shame to see him gone. And Rick Renteria, thanks for getting us to the playoffs. You're out of here. And now they're saying they may offer a job to Sandy Alomar.
Wow.
predicated on what he did during this.
Were you one of the 6 people that watched LeBron James win another championship?
No, I honestly didn't, but it didn't surprise me that he would end up with a triple double. But do I consider it legit? No, it's not too legit to quit. I would say that nobody much had an interest in that, and it's the way it rolled out. And
Ratings
now
are down
they're trying.
70%.
Yeah, and now they're trying to say, oh, we're going to revisit the Michael Jordan LeBron debate, and I'm like turning it off, and it's like, do make it stop. We have a quick question. Wait, somebody wants to throw me a quick question. How long have you been pulling for the Browns? Can you give a few details? I take it you're from Ohio. Okay, Kid Wilson 33. Here's the deal. I grew up in Canton, Ohio, so just where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. I followed the Cleveland Browns since Jim Brown, 1965. I was 8 years old. So I've been following the Browns since 1965. I used to, when my father would, my father was a hairdresser, okay? And he would cut my mom's hair, style her hair on Sundays and in the early afternoon. And we'd listen to the Browns games on the radio. And so when I was a kid, I got into it and then just followed them ever since. And, so I'm 63 years old. That's 55 years I've been following the Browns. I got a satellite dish before there was anything called DirecTV, and I had it in my backyard in Michigan. So I could watch games on a KU satellite band. I've been a diehard Browns fan for a long time. And yeah, I left Ohio in 1985 and have visited only a couple of times since. And when I was down here and going through a fun time in life, I decided, hey, maybe I need to have a hobby. And that was all the way back in 2004. And the burgeoning bandwidth of the internet back then, if you had 15 download, that was fast. Okay, that's what Roadrunner was. And if you had what was called broadband back then, and the upload was just minuscule.
Oh,
and
like 500K or something.
I started out doing all audio on the internet and then switched to video. I was one of the earliest. I think I was by far in Cleveland, Northeast Ohio, the earliest video podcast that was done. And it's the longest running podcast of anything in Northeast Ohio regarding Cleveland sports, just because I was on the curve of this thing. And boy, we had growing pains doing it because we were trying to make a minuscule amount of bandwidth work. And we found more ways of doing it. And I actually had co-hosts even during those days. It was kind of amazing. And what's amazing,
Make TV and all these other software by since then.
Yeah, but the beauty of it now, for the flip of the switch, man. I mean, I have multiple people on the air with me. It's so easy now compared to what it used to be. And my desk is my laptop over here and my webcam up here, and the rest is third-party application, StreamYard, and then then chronicling it or archiving it on YouTube. So yeah.
For the younger viewers, kind of reminisce a little bit about the 60s. Back in those days, you had to listen to Gib Shanley and Jim Grainer on the radio because,
that's right.
For one, the home games were completely blacked out. They were never going to be shown. They weren't going to be shown in bars anywhere. You never saw a home game. And then the away games weren't always shown either, because if the Cowboys were playing the Packers at the same time, you fucking got the Cowboys and Packers because they were the national game, and they wouldn't show the Browns versus the Falcons.
Yo, cut me, Mick. All right, go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of times where the games were not on TV in the 60s, so you listened to the radio. You didn't have a chance to see them otherwise.
Yeah, but we paid our dues, so asking, are you still in Florida? If so, what part? I am in the greater Sarasota area here in Florida, which is about an hour south of Tampa. I'm only about 45 minutes away from where the Buccaneers play football. Yeah, I've been in Florida since 2000, since I retired. It's a different world down here for sure. So yes, I'm still in Florida, and this is where I base the program from. But my heart is with Cleveland sports, and always will be. A fan is a fan. You don't move to Florida and become a Buccaneers fan or a Rays fan.
God, he does.
We talk about Indians when it's worthwhile to talk about the Indians. We talk about the Cavaliers. We talk about a lot about the Browns, especially now as things are getting better. So yeah, I got to get out of here. I mean,
one last thing. Since it's Steelers week, we got to make the BCOD prominent. Because it's Steelers week. We can't show the BCOD enough. Look into his eyes, Ben Roethlisberger. He is coming for you. Look into his eyes. He's been invoked. Ben, look at him.
Hooves up, man.
All right. And if that's not enough, we're going to have Mr. Celery sit on you.
Mr. Celery.
Right. Mr. Celery here. We go, woo! Yeah, we're going to go after Ben. I want to see Mason Rudolph get in the game and get his head torn off. That's what I want to say. Yeah, wipe that taste.
All get your head torn off. Not just Ben and Mason Rudolph. Let's get them all.
Yeah. All right. So at any rate, thanks everybody for tuning in to this edition of Moohead Radio. Back in on Friday for the Friday edition. Thanks so much. And fuck the Steelers is right. And it'll be the Fuck the Steelers pregame show on Friday. We'll make our picks and our predictions and what we need to do to get this team. I've got the Steelers game also lined up. I watched most of that game one time around, and saw some things that. I saw some things that were encouraging. That they gave up some things that, and the Eagles are not that good a football team. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll be with you on Friday, and we'll come up with our picks. Thanks for tuning in, and until Friday, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.